Director of Research for Deloitte Canada in the area of technology, media, and telecommunications. I was recently in Turkey talking about our 2022 predictions, and although we didn't have a prediction for this year about the metaverse, nearly every client asked me a question about it. So, we are going to have an official prediction for 2023, but why don't I share with you a few of my initial thoughts on this space. First of all, what is the metaverse? Well, the metaverse is a place where you, in the form of an avatar, can go into a digital environment and hang out with friends and people and socialize and talk and flirt and buy and sell things and wear things and display things. You can make money, you can lose money, there's currency, you can shop, you can play games and go to concerts and watch things together. And right at this point, everybody I talked to in Turkey said, hi, I have kids who play games that sound an awful lot like that. Isn't the metaverse already here? And to some extent, that's true. There are a number of games with millions of users that have an experience that's awfully like the metaverse. But at least in my view, I think one of the big problems with that is that there is a lack of portability. The metaverse as a term comes from a 1992 novel called Snow Crash by Neil Stephenson. And in it, people went from place to place to place inside the metaverse. You got on a monorail and you went from one party or event to another one. And you looked the same. Your avatar was the same. Your friends looked the same. The stuff that you bought carried with you, the currency that you used from place to place was consistent. The various games that right now look sort of like the metaverse, we have a bunch of walled gardens, a bunch of silos, the appearance and social graph and currency and user experience and how you control movement and so forth. All of that is completely different from one ecosystem to the other. For that reason, I think we're not yet in the metaverse. Instead, I call this a bunch of mini-verses. Until we get that portability, at least for the consumer side, I think it's going to take a little while before the metaverse really takes off. Now, I'm going to get to the enterprise market in a second, but before I do, why are we even talking about the metaverse? And the answer is that the smartphone, wonderful, huge, enormous, lucrative device that it is, growth has kind of stalled. A lot of people in a lot of enterprises are looking at the next big thing, and they look at the success of virtual reality experiences in gaming and others, and they're like, this could be a big market. There are some brokerage estimates out there that this is an $8 trillion opportunity. Big social media companies are spending $10 billion a year on this. Big software and other companies are buying gaming companies for tens of billions of dollars in the belief that gaming may be the portal to the metaverse. It is, many people believe, the next big thing over the next 5 to 10 years. So it's a big thing. What else do I think is really interesting about the metaverse? Well, one of them is the enterprise metaverse market looks to me much perhaps more imminent than the consumer one. As I said, in the consumer market, I'm worried about that lack of portability, the inability to move from one platform to another. But when it comes to, I don't know, Deloitte hosting an employee onboarding session or a conference inside the metaverse, the fact that it's a walled garden, that's not a bug, that's a feature. That provides better security and ability for me to have a worker, secure, friendly environment for training or other such things. I think that's a really interesting market. I think the enterprise market it's an area Deloitte's already working on. I think this is a really interesting space and probably fairly near term. The second question that I get a lot is, what do you think about VR or AR goggles? And we have a problem with that. I have a problem with that. Deloitte does a survey of multiple countries and tens of thousands of people around the world, and like 90% of people around the world have used a smartphone in the last day. 60% of people have used a smart TV set in the last day. 10% of people have used a gaming console in the last day. Not 10% of console users, 10% of everybody is on a console daily. Meanwhile, the data we have on VR goggles is that only about 10% of people have them, and only about 10% of those actually use them regularly, daily. So that means that less than 1% of people around the world are using VR goggles. I don't think consumers, at least yet, have shown a lot of appetite for wearing things over their head inside their own kitchens and living rooms and so forth. I think that market is going to be fairly small for at least the next few years. So where I think the metaverse, if we are able to break some of those walled gardens, gets really, really interesting is actually at the consumer level, but using other devices than VR or AR goggles. I think it will be smartphones. I think it will be TV sets. I think it will be laptops and desktops and gaming consoles. All of these devices that we love, that we game, that we social, all of these devices that are already more than immersive enough to support trillions of dollars in hardware, software, and services spendings, I think those are, in fact, at least in the short term, the likely portals to the metaverse. Tune back in December 2022 when we launch our 2023 predictions and about our official metaverse prediction. But I hope you've enjoyed a few of my early thoughts.